Hey everybody, welcome to Comic Core Unlimited. This is JD, your host, and I'm very happy to have with me a plethora of Comic Core entities and some of my favorite people in the planet, as it was. We have our normal guy Jason here. We've got Carson. We've got Discovery Bay, Jose. We've got Drew Manchu, and of course we got the man, the 18-19 time champion himself, the great legend. So welcome to Unlimited. This is going to be a slightly different version of the show. We obviously have a lot of people on that other show on Fridays, but we have a lot of people here. We have been crossbreeding amongst ourselves. We produce some good products by crossbreeding. So typical thing what we're going to do is what you've been reading, but I want to thank everybody for joining us right off the bat. I really appreciate it. I heard there was a lot of people waiting, and I'm very happy to say that. First off, this show is going to be a little different. I'm going to give you some internal experiences in collecting from some older guys and some younger guys, and we're just going to talk to you guys. It'll be fun, interactive. We'll definitely be interacting with the chat predominantly with this one. But thank you all very much for joining us. Jason, what have you been reading, my friend? By the way, John's kids is out camping right now.
That's right.
So,
do we want to start off with saying what's up to the chat?
Oh, yeah, we could start off with the chat.
Yeah,
actually, let's have our special chat guru himself, Carson Seawoodard, 19 Newsstand.
I will only do the first one if the Great Legend gets to do the next one. So I'm going to do the first one. We're going to take turns tonight because I want to hear from everybody. But, man, all I got to say, I was like, we got to start the show, guys. We got one heck of a chat going already before the show even started. So we'll go down the list here. We got Chris Barrett, who I had to post a T-shirt link for because he's been asking, what are those T-shirts going to go 30% off? I need to order me a damn Great Legend shirt, a literal damn Great Legend shirt. It says damn on it. You can do that. I put the link above. We'll keep posting it. But the shirts for today only are 30% off. So if you like those shirts, now's the time. We also have one of the best Action Comics and Archie Comics collectors out there. We got Mr. Gretzky 9966 is in the chat. What's going on, man? We still have JP's budget collecting in the chat. He says, no John this week. Well, he started on time. 1 minute, but we were closer than usual, I think. So thanks for joining us, JP. We got Ben Compton in the chat. What's going on, Ben? How you doing tonight? And Comic Man Andy, what is going on? He says he's shopping those shirts right now. Thank you for that. And I know this guy, he loves some of those newsstands. We got what's up, RJ Taylor. Always like seeing him. He says, what's up? Let's do this. 3 best hours on the Wednesday, 11 a.m. when the LCS opens. Lords of the Long Box at 6 his time and Comic Court 7 his time, which, by the way, big shout out to TiVo and Lords of the Long Box, one of the best shows on Wednesday. They always shout us out, so I wanted to return the favor. They had a phenomenal show tonight. He finally got his name changed from Melody. Now he's the immortal Biggie Shack. He's clanging and banging, going down Santa Monica.
Biggie.
Comic Core, what's going on, Biggie Shack? We got Knights of the Old in the chat. What's going on, man? He had a great show last night.
Hell yeah.
Let's see who else we got going on here so we can get started. Caleb, the Comic Smurf Murphy, what's going on? If you guys want a shirt of him, you can get one for 30% off as well. Get that Caleb Comic Smurf shirt. And YouTube is 90. Drink it in, man. We got Chad from 90MF Comics. He had a great live stream earlier tonight as well. So don't sleep on his live stream. Him and his 2 friends, they have some great rundowns of some current books, so check them out. We got the Golden Age Guru in the chat. What's going on, man? Nice to see you. Speaking of another awesome collector, we got the Slab Dragon, TJ Watson. I mean, another phenomenal collector there. I mean, love to have his color. We're going to talk about some collecting stuff tonight, but man, that guy knows how to collect. We got Vu Hong in the chat. What's going on? And we got Kachoon. What's going on from DK Comics and Cosplay? And I think that gets most everybody. So back to you, Jason, for your picks of the week.
All right, cool. Let's start with DC Comics. Today I read Batman 73. Art is awesome in it, but of course the story sucks. It's really weird. You got it ended with the last issue ended with Batman's dad, Flashpoint Batman, explaining pretty much Bane's whole entire huge plan, and then he's like, "How can I help?" And then this issue, you see Batman being dragged along through a desert, and there's like a coffin behind him also. And then he's passed out pretty much half the issue, They went camping. There's a fire. They're in the desert. Ninjas come out. Flashpoint Batman fights off the ninjas. Drag him more throughout. The next day, Batman's still passed out. Finally wakes up and fight more ninjas. And then, they have a weird discussion. You figure Batman would want to know why his dad is there, how he survived Flashpoint, because the whole entire universe was destroyed, but that's fine. But he doesn't ask him that. Instead, he wondered what's in the casket. He puts two and two together, and you figure out that these ninjas were part of Ra's al Ghul's clan, and they're on their way to the Lasher's pit, and in the coffin is Martha, the mom. But then it's like, okay, well, which Martha is this? Is this Flashpoint Martha who turned into the Joker? Is this the young Martha? Is she gonna be like 20 years older, or 20 years younger than the dad? It's kind of creepy and kind of weird. But I guess maybe the dad just wants to have his whole family back. I'm just assuming that that's what's going on here. And then is this part of Bane's plan? He just wants to kill his parents again in front of him? I don't know. But it's just a mess of a story. But that's the first thing I read today. Next was Justice League 26. It continues to be pretty good. This one's written by Tynion instead of Snyder. And I believe Tynion's going to be writing the next couple of them. It's pretty good. But towards the end, I would say it's almost skippable unless it's really cool seeing all these characters from all the other dimensions all in one place. You see Captain Carrot, and you see in the background the Red Sun Superman, and it's everyone from all these different dimensions and all there together in one place. So that was cool seeing all these little characters. And pretty much the World Forger just says, hey, we got to find the Anti-Monitor and the Monitor to help defeat Perpetua. And that's pretty much it. And then you got in Marvel, didn't get to read Daredevil yet. I really want to. I forgot about that one. Guardians of the Galaxy 6 was super cool. I think JD wants to go over that later, so I'll save that for JD. Savage Sword of Conan was awesome. Totally unexpected because this is Duggan finished his run. This is someone else, a different writer. And I was like, okay, beginning a new story arc. And I think it has a new artist too, maybe. And so I was like, okay, not sure how I feel about this. Started off awesome. The whole entire issue was great, and it's a one-off. It's not even a whole entire story arc. So it's a great one-off issue. Love Conan, great action, continues to be fantastic. So if you're not even reading Savage Sword of Conan, please do so. Next, we got Uncanny X-Men. Things are still really good. I've been enjoying Uncanny, and I really want to see what happens after, I guess, all the Age of X-Men stuff is over, because they all finished pretty much today. They all finished their 5 of 5 story arc. So I'm going to go and catch up, read all those in a row, and then hopefully they have one last kind of House of X-Men kind of thing issue to tie it all together and see how it brings back into Uncanny. I'm really looking forward to see everyone back together.
Comes out next week.
Yes, awesome.
Age of X-Men Omega.
I've spent pretty much this past couple days catching up.
Omega line.
Is it Rosenberg?
Is Rosenberg going to write the?
Rosenberg's writing Uncanny. Omega, I don't know. I believe it's whoever wrote. I believe it's the team.
The 3 writers.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just wanted to get that.
Cool.
Wasn't sure.
Not for me.
Yeah. So this past week, I spent catching up for little things I missed from the last 2 through 4 weeks. So I caught up on all the War of the Realms tie-ins. The only War of the Realms tie-ins that I didn't read, or pretty much Deadpool, as Guardians of the Galaxy, Squirrel Girl, and there was one other one. But all the rest, I've read every single thing from War of the Realms. So I'm all caught up, except for today's War of the Realms, Spider-Man, and the League of Realms. That's the only one I missed. But they're all great. What's that, JD? What's that one bad guy? Is it Crush? Is that her name? He has the horns and stuff. She's everywhere. She is everywhere.
Showing up on every single. She's in she's all over the place.
I think in Agents of Atlas, Amadeus Cho Hulk punched her into space, but she's here, and then she's in another book also. It's pretty wild, but it's still good and really good overall. I'm having a good time with War of the Realms. Looking forward to JD talking about that later. And then lastly, I'll just talk about Wolverine Infinity Watch 5 of 5. It's wrapped up. Finally, the whole entire Infinity Watch story stuff is over. And it's pretty much just they have a new character that can is a prisoner who was on death row that has the time stone, so you can go forward and back in time. He finally mastered that, and he just kind of ran off by himself. So it's going to be interesting seeing how he controls the time stone, that character, if he comes back, if at all, if anyone uses him. And then you got to wonder what happens to the other stones, because they all have a soul now, thanks to Adam Warlock. So it's going to be interesting to see who they pick and choose, and then those characters probably going to become their own heroes or villains or whatever. So they definitely have a lot of room to make a new story there. As for other things I'm looking forward to, Gideon Falls is my favorite book on the shelf. New issue is out today. definitely going to read that. And also Garth Ennis's Walk Through Hell has been really messed up. You feel like dirty after reading Walk Through Hell. But I'm really looking forward to reading that. But yeah, that's all I got to say for this week.
Thanks, Jason. That was really good rundown right there. My quick, I'm just going to talk about 3 books that I picked up this week. I'm going to start with Journey Mystery War of the Realms, which is Dennis Hopeless has been everything I've asked for in a writer that I've trusted. He did a great Darth Vader run. He did a great pretty much everything he's written. He goes back a ways to the old X-Force and stuff. And this is it's a tie-in that while I'm not crazy about the art, I do like the storyline. It's different. It does tie into War of the Realms, and we might see a new character arrive. We're hearing by the end of War of the Realms, and it looks like it's got some legs. It has been done. I heard that there's a few printings of the older issues that have been out, and this is number 5. And this, I think, is the second. This might be the last one before the War of the Realms finale, and this is pretty good. The next one I'm just going to talk about really quickly is War Scrolls. This has the God Without Fear, and it has been everything I've asked for in a Daredevil comic, other than the current Daredevil, the Chip Zdarsky, has been great. Jason mentioned that. Comics Misexplained did a great job in talking about that. Daredevil has been great. Punisher's been great. That's been good. This is a little different, but still solid. I will say that the Fantastic Four portion of this impressed me a lot more than I thought it was going to. And I'm going to recommend to my good friend, the Great Legend, who is on our panel today, you would really enjoy the flashbacks in this.
The Doom, so good.
Doom is just there. I mean, this reminded me of an old school Fantastic Four book, the little storylines. If you don't know, War Scrolls is about 4 or 5, maybe 6 pages each of about 3 stories. And the first one was The God Without Fear, which is Daredevil with the Necro Sword. Well, not the Necro Sword, sorry. Heimdall Sword, dealing with Heimdall and kind of coming to terms of what is he? Is he, I think the best line in there was, is he a blind man with a sword, or is he a god with a sword? And that's where it comes in. My pick of the week is not a War of the Realms reference one, but is a finale of an arc that, besides the cover being oh so Alex Ross sweet and oh so perfect, kind of a photo cover with Norrin going through the mean street, really kind of like he's going right down the middle of the sidewalk right there. Looks really good. But this ends the arc of the first 6 issues of Donny Cates's Guardians of the Galaxy. And while I'm a fan of Cates, but have not liked everything he's done, this answers the questions of what's going to happen. And it ends it. It ends it on a very good note. It starts a whole new arc after this. It has, your Beta Rays in there, and everybody's there, the original characters. But this was something where the final thing of what happens between Eros, Thanos, Hela, all your baddies are here, all your goodies are here, that if you like the cosmic world. And just a side note, this is Cates' best ending of any, well, I think this is his true ending of the arc. I think he actually sat down and said, I'm just going to do a short storyline on this. One thing about this book and Cates in general is that Cates is best doing cosmic stuff. And not to belittle his Venom, which was so popular and everything's good, and he's just adding those characters in. If you look at Silver Surfer Black, I told you I wouldn't spoil it till this week. Land of Silver Surfer Black, you saw the cover today. He meets Null. There's no Null in this, and there's no Silver Surfer in this. This is a misgiven cover. But it is a moment that I'm just going to say Cates is best doing cosmic. Cates is the closest thing to Jim Starlin I would compare him to, as far as the way he gets the cosmic characters together and writes for each individual one. He doesn't mess with the brand. He uses the characters as they were originally written and brings them into a modern environment, which is so good. And my kudos to him for this book alone. And usually, I've always said War of the Realms was a pick of the week. This is my pick of the week because it wraps up a tremendous arc. So
and it continues into Avengers coming up.
Right. If you read Avengers 22, I think it's 22.
I think that one's coming out soon.
Yeah, that'll be coming out soon. It'll continue into there. It's a good storyline, but this is like a true arc that ended. It's very old school style how it leaves the next one. They're all sitting in a bar at the end. That's how it ends. Everybody, I would like to. I'm going to introduce, say hello, and ask him what he's been reading. First, I'm going to start off with the newsstand man himself, Carson. What have you been reading this week?
So it was a small week for me. So I did have a cover by my store. Finally got this one in, the
Nice.
Nightmare on Elm Street Deceased. So happy to have that one finally. They didn't have any last week or the week before. The only other DC or Marvel book I got was I found the first issue 1 of American Carnage.
Cool.
Not too
Yeah.
bad. I may end up picking this up in a trade or a hardcover, whatever I see first. But I enjoyed that one.
I really like that series, Carson. I really like that series a lot, and I really hope it becomes like an HBO show or something.
Yeah, I think that's what this was your recommendation.
Yeah,
I just had never seen it in my store, so I went to 2 stores today and actually had the full run. So I just went and got the first issue because I had literally just this copy, so I figured I might as well just swoop it up while it was there. And everything else I got was independent. So I tried out this new series called Militia since I didn't have hardly a pull list this week. This one's from Chuck Dixon. The main reason I wanted to go ahead and pick it up because this is already sold out on Midtown. The guy at the store I bought this from didn't even know what this was. So I'm like, oh, all right, I'll check it out. It was okay. Nothing too crazy or special. Basically, like it starts off with 40 school children, all female, getting kidnapped. Basically, they're being sold in the slave trade. And there's a militia team that has to save the little girls, basically. And one of them, the main character, name's Melissa. She's like a computer scientist mainly, but she also has field training, which she's just dying and help. Yeah, exactly. It's kind of weird. So at the end, she gets to go out in the field and help these. Like they find all the 8 children. She's going to go help the 8 children. Basically, it's Melissa. So there you go, militia.
Very cool.
I'm not going to talk too much about because I know Legend hasn't read this yet. And he loves this book. But they're building up towards something big for issue 10. I think that's going to be the cutoff point for their hardcover. So they're definitely coming up to a big mid-season finale coming up, basically. So issue 9 was on point with the rest of the series. And maybe it's going to end up being my pick of the week, Drawing Blood issue 2. So Kevin Eastman written, and he actually did the cover too, and he does some of the interiors. He does kind of like they do on Batman Team and T. Kevin Eastman does the flashbacks for the art in this as well as writing the book. So basically, if you guys haven't been keeping track of this book, it's about a co-creator of something like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, but it's like radical ragdolls instead, which they also introduced a series for that coincide with this. But basically, he's got mafia after him because the creator he's been working with for the last 3 decades killed himself, and he had a lot of debts. So now he basically has accumulated the debts of his, mentor, basically. What's funny is I'll just pop open the book real quick. I like how he gets saved from the mafia people. And remember, this book is written by Kevin Eastman. Is a quirky reporter shows up with a cameraman.
Oh, hell.
And you get to see that.
Is it
I don't
male?
know who that resembles
Yellow, got yellow.
Yeah. So there you go. Not April O'Neil to the rescue, basically. So
it's like April O'Neil.
Yeah. May O'Brien. Yeah.
So I also like there's just some insane things going on in this book. Like the main character, he's also working on a musical for the old-timey movie Metropolis, thus the Metropolis robot on the cover.
Very cool.
And then after that, he goes for a night of drinking and drugs and pills, and he ends up interacting with his own created characters in a sushi bar in the middle of the night. And he wakes up after his drug stupor and ends up going to a funeral, and that's where the issue leaves off. So this book is insane in all the right ways. And then
that sounds cool. Yeah,
it's pretty cool. In my last read, I'm still chugging through this. I read issues 24 and 25 before I jumped on this stream. So what else can I say about this? Absolutely love it. I don't know why I'm not done with this already. I'm trying to take my time, but read Saga. It's great.
Saga's great. Chuck Dixon, by the way, kind of has that motif. Other things I've read of his always has a female protagonist in a kidnapped situation and gets out and gets revenge. It's very good. Shanghai Red, for example. I wonder, Carson, if that's a short one. Chuck usually only does a short little like a 6-issue run usually. Chuck, he doesn't really go that long. Doesn't do any major arcs, so it'll be fun for you. It'll be a fun read. All right, let's bring it up to right now to my man Drew Manchu, who has a guy on his shirt that you can get today for $13 right now.
$13, you can get this ugly ass Great Legend Big Bird shirt. You can make one uglier. You can try. You might fail.
Well, you
can try.
Putting you in it does help the ugly.
Look, man, I knew that the call went out. We need ratings tonight on Comic Core Unlimited. We need ratings, and I brought the ratings shirt.
I brought you. I didn't know they made a That's Drew Manchu, people, rocking and rolling with the flocked Funko.
Damn, this shirt is ugly. Look at that mug. Look at that ugly ass mug on this ugly ass shirt under this ugly ass mug. It's like it's Inception levels of ugly going on over here. I read a bunch of stuff this week, guys. I read Middle West. I thought this was really fun. Still loving this. The art is just absolutely gorgeous. Jorge Corona does a really great job taking what's in Scotty Young's mind and bringing it to life. Really cool stuff. Skyward, this is still worth reading. Can't say that about too many independent titles as they reach their end of their third volume. But I can also say that Gideon Falls is great as well.
Nice. My favorite.
I did not finish this book, so I can't really speak on it because there's a lot going on, and I had to leave for dinner. So I'm like, I put it down, and I'm like, I have no idea what I even read. So I have to go back and check that out. Cover by this week, I got the Virgin variant for the Marvel's Annotated.
That's
I
sick.
love this cover. I just picked this run up again the other day, and I'm going to read through it.
Yeah, I think they had a Stephanie Hans cover for that too.
Did they?
Yeah.
I did not pick that one up. You got the Justice League 26. This is really taking a step back, but it's the tiny and fill-in issue. The Fernandez art is not nearly as good as the art we've been getting, but it is what it is. Still a good book. Deadpool War of the Realms. This was kind of dumb, so I didn't finish it. Dr. Aphra. This is the best Star Wars book running. The murder droids in this book are
Currently running.
awesome.
Currently running.
Running, yes, currently.
Yeah. Very good book. I actually was upset I did not that much.
Yeah, I think it's better. It's better than Vader. It's better than the main story. Some of those one shots they put out were pretty good, but this right here, as far as like ongoing story, really good stuff. The murder droids are it's just everything you want out of Star Wars and nothing that you don't. The characters are fun. Grab this Captain Marvel Spider-Man cover here. Thought the big time Spider-Man was good looking, so I grabbed that up. And I did read Captain Marvel. It's a body swap comedy with Doctor Strange and Captain Marvel. If that's your kind of thing, you're going to like it. And if it's not, you're not going to like it. So that's really all I have to say about that. I found it enjoyable. Close to my pick of the week is Daredevil, man. This is just so freaking good. The art is really top notch as well. Who's doing the art?
Chichetto.
What's that? Chichetto didn't do this issue. Marco Chichetto. He was doing it. But this arc is Sharma, and it's really good. It's no Marco Chichetto, but it's all right. I did pick up the Guardians. I got both covers on that, but I really love this one here. So that's the one I'm going to look at in the screen right there. We already talked about that a little bit. Yeah, and now some X-Men stuff. I mean, I read Batman. So before we get into the X-Men, I read Batman. I have a couple things to add to Comics Misexplained's description of this book. He's absolutely on point, except for when he said they go camping. They don't go camping. They camp out along the journey.
Yeah. They camped out. Yeah, they didn't go to the desert to go camping.
Like he's like, I'm dragging him through the desert, and then I'm like, well, I'm going to take my son fishing.
Yeah.
And, but they kind of wake up around the campfire, slap each other around a little bit, and then they're like all on the same page. It's the weirdest nonsense ever.
He didn't want his son to be Batman, but yet he brought the cowl with him. He's like, yeah, here, wear it.
None of it makes any damn sense. None of it makes any damn sense. From the point where where Flashpoint Batman showed up in like Bane's Rogues Gallery in like the 6th issue of the damn series or whatever, it hasn't made any damn sense.
Not for
The button killed him off. You can't bring him back after the button. He's dead. He died in the button. But we're not supposed to remember the button because the button fucking sucked. The button is just another reason to look at them as if they failed and fumbled everything that they did great with Rebirth. It's like they're dancing to the end zone after Rebirth, and somebody just slaps the ball out of their hand. Bunch of dummies over there. Speaking of bunch of dummies, we're getting ready to end some really good X-Men stuff. Uncanny is ending in like 2-3 issues to make way for the Hickman stuff, which I'm excited about the Hickman stuff.
Yeah.
But this is good, man. There's some really good art in here. LaRocca's art is just really great. I love watching him draw Wolverine in his old brown and yellow costume. Really good stuff there. Magic just offs Dark Beast in this like it's no thing at all. Just kind of like opens the portal and cuts his head off in the ceiling.
The ceiling? That was awesome.
It's like he made us kill kids. And Scott's like, you can't do that. And she's like, I just did. It was pretty awesome. Banshee's in this. That's really cool. I really like what's going on here. And I kind of feel bad for Rosenberg, who's such a great storyteller in so many awesome ways. I love his Punisher work.
I think he'll be back real quick.
I think he's gonna. No, well, I think that he'll be doing something else.
Something good, something different.
Yeah, definitely not X-Men, but I like this a lot. A whole lot.
I think he's actually going to do Moon Knight.
Oh, that would be awesome too. So basically, they've told him, "Hey, Hickman's coming to reset things," and he's like, "All right, well, let's see how much shit we can throw at the wall real quick." And that kind of gives an exciting pace to it, even though you know that it's kind of just nothingness at this point as far as continuity is concerned. Which brings me to Age of X-Men. This week we got an end to Amazing Nightcrawler, and we got an end to Next Gen. Basically, this whole event, each of these books is exactly the same. And it's just each miniseries takes a different characters and looks at their emotional experience through this. Amazing Nightcrawler. If you're a super huge Nightcrawler fan, I'd pick this book up. His characterization is pretty great. They take a lot of things from his continuity and throw it into this reality, and they make him have a heart-wrenching self-sacrifice for the greater good, which is kind of thing that this character who's so tied to his faith would probably do. But it is heart-wrenching and kind of good stuff. It's not super great. It's weird and it's out there. So if you're a super Nightcrawler fan, I suggest it. If you're going to read only 1 or 2 of these stories, and Mr. Explains says he's going to read through all of them.
I'll read them all, yeah.
Next Gen's great. Prisoner X is good as well. Next Gen is basically, if you like Glob Herman.
Yeah, Glob's awesome.
Are you in for a treat? Because this is a Glob Herman-centric story, and the end is poetically depressing in a lot of ways. This is the Ed Brisson book. Sean and McGuire did this one, so this is definitely a little more touchy-feely. This is definitely a whole lot more action and fun, so I really enjoyed it. Seawood read the Black Label Superman. I did.
Yeah, that's right. I did read that too, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Not memorable.
It's so weird.
It's a fun little Clark Kent as a kid story. Ends with him going off to college or join the Navy.
Join the Navy, yeah.
Join the Navy. But it's just really it's not as weird as you want Frank Miller to be. And I think that Frank did a whole lot of scribble scrabble, and John Romita took that and turned it into something.
Yeah, for sure.
Because the art is very Romita, has some Frank Miller like layout type of. It feels like a Frank Miller book, but it looks like a Romita book. So
the dialogue was really kind of funny and weird sometimes. Also, that the narration, at first it was like kind of third person, and then it was like, that's my dad, and then it went back to third person. It's like, what's going on?
I think it was a lot of it was things aren't right. I think that's the way that it's supposed to feel.
Yeah, I passed
Things aren't
on
quite right.
like it's such a wild card book for me because I just haven't really enjoyed a lot of Frank Miller stuff the last,
Yeah.
2 decades.
See
And
the
then the
cover?
Ramita Superman run, Superman looked terrible in that run.
Oh, I
Well,
love that
Hey,
Renita Superman
Superman
run.
skipped leg day. I mean,
Yeah, that's how I put on. I think it was Bear Island Comics was putting it on his Instagram about how many kneecaps Superman needed on that cover, and yeah, he definitely skipped leg day.
Yeah, it's the thing about it is it was really forgettable.
Yeah, it picked up once you got to like high school, but like then again, it was just
It was
weird, man.
I like the characterization of Pa Kent in it.
I like their insults, the bullies. They called them like a bunch of toolies or something like that.
Yeah, tool sheds.
Yeah, tool sheds. It's like okay,
Tool
cool,
people.
good
Bunch
insults.
of tool people. Tool shed people.
It's like old man insults. I don't know. It was funny.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, you don't see his dong, so there's that.
So that's that, yeah.
there is that. Yeah. I want to shout out to this group right here and this chat and everything else. And this is a part of this Unlimited show that I love the most is What's Everybody Reading. And to have Jason on, Jason's one of the key readers that I always share everything with. And Drew is the king of what's going on in comics and what's been reading. And you have Carson, who did his, who is a passionate fan, and I love the fact that he was talking about the independents right there. But we're coming up to a guy right now. But before we go there, Carson, you want to shout out that chat one more time?
Let me take over the chat.
That's what I wanted.
Minutes that I
He's been
said
waiting.
anything on this damn show because y'all are the B team players. The blue brand. There ain't no denying because the red is on fire. And man, just
My
look
red
over.
one
Is it over that way is old Yellowbird. But man, let me check this chat real quick from my main man Carson coming here to us live tonight here on Comic Core Unlimited. I got to give a big shout out to one guy who does a phenomenal job on Monday nights on the Comic Core. And this guy is, Carson, you've been wanting me to say it all night tonight. And I'm talking. There's no other than the natural White Whale Comics. Man, it's great to have Alec in the chat tonight. Alec, if you're still in the chat, and I hope you are because you're seeing nothing but stars here on this panel, player. But anyways, man, remember, 30% off. You got 30% off. Carson, Seawood 19, just put the link up. You got 4 hours and 25 minutes to go to get those shirts, the Comic Core branded shirts at 30% off. Don't let that moment slip you by. Click on the link today, and you'll know why, because all these people on the panel, we got the shirts on, man, and you can be like the core with the shirts forevermore because you never know what you got in store when you're watching the Comic Core. But let's get back to the chat. White Whale, Cold Chillin', Caleb, Comic Smurf Murphy, who also has a cool shirt on there as well. Great to see him. Mr. Gretzky, JD Comics, JD in the house tonight, hosting with the mostin. Jay Salsa 23, man, great to see you. RJ Taylor's in the house. Like we said before, King of Slabs, the Slab Dragon. TJ Slab Dragon Watson is here. Kachung. One guy I haven't shouted out or heard the shout out yet is the Mastodon Comics and Collecting. That just sounded really creepy. Comic Man Andy, thank you so much for sharing your Wednesday night with us. Comic Man Andy just said he'd read his pool for this week, and he is enjoying the show tonight. And, man, we just got a lot of great people in the chat. We got Discovery Bay. He wasn't feeling too well, so he's going to be heading in early tonight. But you can always catch Discovery Bay Comics when you subscribe to his channel to see the ultimate YouTube channel guide for every show in the YouTube comic book community. You'll know what's on by watching Discovery freaking Bay. Now let me go ahead and get into my picks of the week. Books just came out today, so I don't get the physical copies as soon as everyone else. The mail's a little slow around here. It's like I think they got Jason Smith using the media mail gimmick. God bless you, Jason, wherever you are out there. Mastodon knows what it is. But what I've been doing, I set goals for my comic book reading a lot of times, which we're going to be also kind of talking about some in our topic tonight. But I've been rereading all the Fantastic Four books because I have not read every single issue of the Fantastic Four. My last issue that I read was this one right here. I don't know how good that'll come in on
It's looking good right there at that angle.
Number 33, Fantastic Four, World's Greatest Comic Magazine. You got Namor front and freaking center taking on this guy named Atuma. And Lady Dorma, she comes, warns the Fantastic Four, hey, my boy, my man I love, he's about to get killed by this guy. So the Fantastic Four, they sneak into Atlantis and they help defeat Atuma's bad guys, while Namor tangos with Atuma one-on-one. The Fantastic Four are in the background also winning the battle for Namor. And the whole time, Namor doesn't even know what's going on. And I think it's probably smarter that way because, Namor, like a drop of a hat, man, he'll go right after the Fantastic Four too because he's got some anger issues. He's got some power. He's power hungry. You know what I mean? So he's making sure he is the one, on top of that pedestal and no one else is going to take him down. So that's also Atuma's first appearance as well. So if you're into the old books, try to read that Fantastic Four 33. I've been rereading all my Fantastic Four issues on the Marvel Unlimited app, by the way, which is just a kick butt app. I mean, it's so freaking good. The DC Universe app, the two Matts, the boy who had 7 and Thanatos Comics would love this. I've been reading the Jeff Johns Green Lantern run, and before I get into the Blackest Night, I had to reread some Agent Orange action. And then in the backup story of issue number 40, it talks about Glomulus's demise. And Glomulus, he's this like little purple creature, and he eats stuff. Like if these guys like spit stuff out, or if this guy would be awesome in medieval times or in Viking times. People are eating the chicken legs, throwing all that crap on the ground. Well, little Glomulus here, he just like eats stuff, and it's so freaking cool. So you get a little origin story of how he eventually succumbed to the Orange Lantern Larfleeze. But what I love about this is, I'll try to zoom in on it. The little backup story is called Tales of the Orange Lanterns. And if you look at the font on Tales, it kind of looks like
DuckTales.
And if you scoot on back out, you've got Larfleeze, and it shows all these orange rings. And the cool thing about them, it's like Larfleeze is just swimming in the orange rings, like Uncle Scrooge was swimming in his vault of gold. So I kind of love that little deal at the very end. I just had to show y'all that because it's so good. And, the Jeff Johns Green Lantern run, I'm reading this on the DC Universe app, which, we also watch Swamp Thing, so come see us on the Comic Core tomorrow night for Outside the Issues, as a lot of us review Swamp Thing episode. Is it going to be 3 or 4?
Three
this week.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
definitely
I gotta watch 3 still.
around.
I really enjoyed 1 and 2. It was awesome, man. 2 had Blue Devil. Dude, that was
Oh,
awesome.
I love that, man. That was so
dude.
cool.
I love that show so much, man. So I'm really looking forward to seeing episode 3 probably tonight.
Ian Ziering too. So me and old Jason Comics Miss Explain. We used to watch our 90210. You know how we roll.
Melrose Place.
Melrose Place.
Long sideburns back in the day. Me walking over to him saying, "You guys watch too much television."
Amen to that. But as far as like Carson, I'm going to get caught up on Farmhand because we're going to be talking about that on Friday. That's going to be a lot of fun. And of course, I still get Shazam and I read Fantastic Four, and that's about it. But really, I've been so much into this reading comics digitally. It's kind of like my favorite way to read comics now. So it's a lot of fun, JD.
Very
good stuff.
Yeah, Legend, real quick. You got to check out the new Invaders. The new run of it. It's so good, man. I think you'll dig it because it reads like an old comic.
Character.
Namor's in there. Yeah, Captain America.
Does it have the android torch, the old school?
Yep.
Yeah,
Thoro.
I definitely got to check that out.
Gotta read it, man. It's so good.
And Thoro.
Yeah.
Damn, awesome, man.
So before we get into our main topic of the evening, I want to once again thank everybody in the chat. I do see some names here that I just want to shout out. Some great dialogue. Airboy the Barbarian. Love what you did there, talking about the Fantastic Four, as well as Comic Man Andy ordered a new shirt today, so congratulations to you. Thank you very much, by the way, every one of you for guys.
And Lords of the Long Box is in the chat along
with very good
the man, the myth, the media, Jason Smith.
Yep.
Lords of the Long Box have like the best news, man, for like any kind of comic book news. It's so awesome. I love catching up with their stuff. I'm gonna watch the rest of the show, catch up on it on tomorrow.
Exactly.
I saw a little bit of it today. Got to cut a little bit of it. It's so good, man. Love those guys. They don't get enough credit, man.
Mm-hmm.
So before we get into the topic, I just want to remind you guys is that Comic Core is doing a contest. as a group. We are doing a contest as a group, and anybody can enter. And it's simple. We want you to bring you to Baltimore, hang out with us. We will take care of your airfare, your room and board, your passes to get into hang out with these nuts that we hang out here on the panel, and we'll be there. And there's the way to enter is to make a video and subscribe to the Comic Core channel. And the best thing to do with the video, because there's been some discussion, is tag the Comic Core, as well as drop a link of your video if you want in the chat. Says, hey, I made a video. Here it is. You can do that in the first video that came out is probably the best way to do it. And we'll probably put up a link to that video as soon as we're done with this. We'll put a link to that video there. But we want you all we want to see as many of you guys in Baltimore as possible. And you're gonna meet some of the funnest guys you're ever gonna sit there and talk comic books with. Go shopping for comic books with, get some original art with, talk around, get some signatures, have a good time, and have a good blast, of course, late night. Who knows? I might sing a song or two.
Or you might meet Paste Pot Pete.
Yeah, you never know what cosplay I might do. So our big topic of the evening is something that's near and dear to my heart because I've been there and I've done it. And it's what happens. It's kind of as if you got into comics, you were away for a while, or you just got into them, and you got in there, and you immediately started buying your AF-15s, your Tech 27s, your Action Comics 1s, or other key books, and all of a sudden you're spent, you're done, you're like, I can't do this anymore. I've been there. I can tell you my personal experience was about 15 years ago. I went a little bit overboard, and next thing you know, I had to sell off part of the collection to go fund my day-to-day life. I think we've all had that moment when we said, God, I really want this book or this signature or this original art. Let me just do it and I'll be fine and everything's good. But life comes in and changes things.
Yeah.
And that happens. We're talking about how to collect on a not a conservative basis, but how to budget yourself and how to figure everything out. We're not going to talk too much about the financial part, but we're going to talk about when you kind of overstep it, when you go when unlimited becomes limited, and you have limited space, limited funds, limited everything going on. I personally will tell you what I had to do. I had to sell off, and it's going to make the legend dear in here. He knows the story. He's going to break his heart. I sold off a bunch of Fantastic Fours, and I don't mean one or two. I mean issue one, and probably about 38 issues of Fantastic Four, with the exception of 48, 49, 50. I sold a large portion of my Fantastic Four collection to fund my day-to-day because I went into a change in the economy went down, and I was sitting there hunting for a job all of a sudden. It happened. And my resource was that. And I said, I could I went into my savings, but I said, you know what? I can always get these books later on. Mm-hmm. And that's one thing I want to tell everybody. My personal opinion is don't be afraid if you have to part with a book to live day to day, or you need to take a break, do it. Take a break. You don't have to keep up with the Joneses. I mean, we do a lot of shows and everything else on here, on not just the core, but on other shows. We do the Hunt, and I'm a big part of the Hunt. I announced on the Hunt that I am done with my major grails. I'm literally done. And I'm so happy to say that I have a few minor books, but nothing in the 4-figure range ever again do I need to buy. Do I want to? Yes. But will I? No. Because I committed myself to finding a niche. As I got older, I says, okay, I'm going to stick to my niche, and I'm going to go with my niche, go with what I love the most, and collect those.
Yeah.
And that's my personal advice. But I want to hear from the panel here. What do you guys think? And the chat, too. Tell us your stories of when you, some of the guys that have been around, some seasoned guys. Remember, it's not the age, it's the mileage, according to in Harrison Ford. You call that guy Dr. Jones. Dr. Jones. There you go. So I'm going to pass it off right now to one of my co-hosts here on the Unlimited Show, Comics Mix Explained. Talk about budgeting limiting. And one of the great things is Legend brought up the digital. And I was going to bring up trades, and I'll talk to that at the very end, that I'm actually saving some of the books for trades.
Yeah, like all new stuff, I mainly buy digital just because it's like I read comics for the stories, you know what I mean? Not because of speculation or because they're worth money, you know, they tend to be like that sometimes. And that really helps you if you want to keep buying physical to do that, if you want to ship it and flip it, you know. But yeah, most of the news stories I'll buy digital because it takes up space. You know, I run out of space. I pretty much ran out of space already. And I ran into the same problem too when I first started buying comics. I was spending like 175 every week. You know, it got out of control. I was like, what am I doing? I have so many like new comics that aren't worth anything. You can buy them in $1 bin now. You know what I mean? So I have all that stuff to probably get rid of, but a lot of stuff I'm kind of just partial to and don't want to sell at the same time. But when I ran into a problem where I ran out of money, I did the same thing as JD. Instead of selling comics, I didn't have comics at the time. I sold my records. I sold a lot of my record collection that was worth money. So
Speaking of
you gotta be
what's
careful.
the record behind you tonight?
Oh man, yeah. Well, tonight I got a collaboration of Bad Bad Not Good, which is a jazz band, and Ghostface Killah. And this is the instrumental version of the album Sour Soul, and it's fantastic. It is incredible, actually.
Awesome.
So you have jazzy music with some cool raps over it, man. It's good stuff. And
you know, I love my rhymes.
Oh yeah, dude. that band too, Bad Bad Not Good. Great jazz band. They're a bunch of young kids. They did collaborations too with like Tyler the Creator and a bunch of other hip hop guys as well. But that's a good album, number 4. Worth checking out for some good jazz, and there's some rap over that too. But yeah. As to collecting, yeah, mostly just buy digital now. Today I did splurge. I put myself in a budget. I usually try not to spend more than like 100 or maybe 200 if I'm feeling crazy, like every 2 weeks. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But even then. I'll just like I've been saving for Baltimore as well. You know what I mean? I kind of want to spend money on friends and buy them books while I'm there, or like buy beers and stuff. And you know, for everyone else, you just got to have the love. You know, Legend knows I got him some books. You know, Drew Manchu got me a book. You know what I mean? Like love goes around in the Comic Core, and that's what it's about.
You too.
Yeah, man. Yeah, it's right. I got one for you too. It's right.
Yeah.
It's still good, dude. I got to mail it off. Give me your address, man.
All right.
But yeah, I mean, it's a fun hobby, but yeah, you got to be careful if it takes over your life, man. Just
one
watch
of the
out.
guys who really loves this topic. Thank you very much, Jason. That was really good. Thanks a lot for sharing that, Jazz.
Of course.
I do appreciate that, and I do love the fact that you collect vinyl. But the Great Legend is one that I know he's been in this situation before, and he's going to share a little bit. We'll do a mini Legends truth moment right here when it comes down to taking care of business, buddy.
Man, that's what it's all about. You know, when I first started getting back into collecting, it was around the New 52, and all those DC titles, they were just so freaking good. And man, I was buying so many books. Like I would probably say from 2011 up to around 2016, I was just buying because there was just so much good stuff to read that I enjoyed. You know, Phantom Stranger, Jonah Hex. I mean, oh man, that was some good stuff right there. But yeah, I was spending about $200 to $300 a month total on like whether it be books, Funkos, statues, collectibles, anything and everything that had to do with pop culture. And I can gladly say, like today in the modern times, from 2016 to 2001 rhymes with time, had to go there. But you know, $20 to $30 a month on new books. So, you know, I get my Green Lantern, I get my dang Shazam, Fantastic Four, I get some Farmhand, you know, Saga, East to West, you know, and you know, some other little things here and there. And since I get them, you know, pre-order them, you know, out of the mycomicshop.com, you know, pre-order them 2 months in advance, they knock about 35% off, and man, I'm good to go. And you know, I have them shipped to me monthly, so even though they're good to go, I usually get the books nice and slow because I don't want to spend too much on shipping. So I do read a lot of digital, but when I read digital, I mainly will read a lot of the digital back issues off Marvel Unlimited and DC Universe. So what I'm getting at, fans, is long ago, you know, my good friend Alex, the Comic Hoarder, Reaper Tate 728, and most recently, my good friend Kenny, aka Comic Head 84. Oh yeah, you know, put out a great video, you know, talking about he was kind of taking a step back from collecting all the new books. You know, he'll occasionally, you know, buy a book off the shelf if something catches his eye. You know, when the book catches your eye catches the book, and you're gonna go buy it. But it really takes a lot of willpower sometimes to cut back on the books you buy, because, you know, you see your friends, like JD says, your friends are on the hunt, they're kicking ass, they're showing these new books, whether they be brand new books, a hot new variant, or they're getting a lot of cool things from a flea market or a trade show. And you sometimes feel the fear of missing out, the FOMO, because you see it every day. You follow your best friends on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, whatever that may be. Of course, we see each other on YouTube with these cool books as well. And a lot of times the jealousy comes up and you're like, damn, I want to get that book, and all that kind of stuff. But a lot of times when you do that, you're getting pulled off of your own path. I've listened to Who Dat Comics and Movies, myself, we've done videos about this. Everyone has their race of life, and that also leads, whether the way you lead your life. But that's a whole nother truth video. But as far as comic books, you can kind of equate to the same thing. You set goals for yourself, whether that be you want to read a certain series, but it also means what runs you want to collect. What do you want to go back and get, to have your favorite runs of your favorite characters, or what favorite grails, slabs, whatever that may be. But a lot of times when new stuff comes out, it's kind of like, you just got married to the love of your life, and then you see this lovely woman coming your way, and you like look over there at this lady, you're like, whoa, and you remember the good old days when you're like, hey, I might just buy this or buy that or buy this. But then you come to the realization that, man, the money's kind of running out, and you're like, damn, where's all this money going? What the hell's going on? And you look at your bank statement, you remember, oh yeah, I spent all that money at the comic shop. So we're not trying to preach to you here. We just want you to let you know that was some of our history and we lived it. So never be afraid to cut back on titles. Don't worry about what other people are going to think or say about your collection or whatever, because that collection is your collection, not the other people's collection. So, and that's why it's called YouTube. You do you, and you put yourself on the tube. And that's what makes the moment so special, because it's all about, your collection. You're just sharing what you love with others. You're not, I would hope no one would ever like go out and buy a book just because they see, like a friend grab the book. I mean, like, what's great about comics, we can give each other pointers. Like Drew does this all the time on Blast It or Stash It on Sunday night. If it's an awesome book, he's going to say, y'all really ought to go read this thing, because I think you're going to fall in love with the characters. You're going to fall in love with the story. The art's phenomenal. Of course, Drew Manchu, one of the greatest reviewers on all of YouTube. But, you're going to get those. But, just know your limits. And, what is this? It's, setting limits. So just know to set your limits, and you'll be glad you did, because you're going to have a lot of extra money in your pocket for that Taco Bell.
Thank you very much, Legend, for that. Drew, you're the guy I'm going to next before I go to Carson on this one, but I want to go to you especially because you and I have had this slight discussion before you're in there. Tell us your story.
Man, right now I'm at the point where I need my collection to be a collection and not an accumulation. I think that we've all reached that point, at least one point here or there. My life was flipped upside down, and not when I got in a fight with some guys over some basketball in West Philadelphia. But I had a family change of situation, and now my life is 10 pounds of shit in a 5-pound bag. I went from having a 3-story townhouse full of all of garbage, this plastic shit you see behind me here, all these posable action figures. I have to buy them. I see them. I have to get them. All these books here, I see them. I have to get them. So I went from a 3-story house of all this stuff to the bedroom I grew up in. It was a humbling experience, and I'm trying to downsize my collection. I need to do one of those Thorough Q Burrow $1 claim auctions and just sit here all day one Sunday and just give my stuff away. It's getting to that point, but I think at the same time, it's given me the opportunity to focus my collecting in a way that I really haven't before. I pick up Silver Age Marvel cosmic stuff. I pick up Crypto the Superdog covers, and beyond that, I buy new books for stories. If I find that I'm not reading a book, I drop it from my pull list. There are some things that I will collect new books constantly. If it's X-Men, I'm at least going to give that #1 a try. And most of the time, I'm going to stick with it through the run. I'm trying to get a complete collection of all X-Men books ever, including reprints and things of that nature. So that's one thing that's going to take up space. But beyond that, I'm trying to slim my collection down. Runs that I read that aren't really doing anything in my collection, I'm going to start getting rid of some of that stuff. I'm getting to the point where some of this accumulation needs to be culled from my collection. So yeah, I think that point is really where I'm at right now.
Great, Drew.
I've dropped a lot of titles. But my pull list was still $100 this week, and then I dropped $200 on a case of Marvel Legends, but because I need to build that Caliban. But I mean,
I love it.
But like, this is the new Gambit. Like, come on, how do you not?
Awesome.
Legendary. And I'll tell you what, because I bought the case, I got an extra one of these Gambits laying around. Maybe we'll do a giveaway on the core on Friday night. We'll see what happens.
Cool.
Get some more people involved in the action figure game.
There you go.
Whereas all my money is going to plastic tubs under my bed, stuff with those motherfuckers.
There you go. Drew, thank you very much for sharing that and everything else. Now, Carson, from your point of view, what have you experienced in your comic collecting accumulation? I love that line. That's a great one. What do you think about everything that we're going over?
It's all pretty accurate so far, especially like I probably encountered every single thing you guys have just talked about, like from selling another medium just to make ends meet until you find the next job. Like my thing, I know Misexplained said records, I had to sell a bunch of video games off at one point because it was like more than 10 years ago.
Dude, I sold my Michael Jackson Moonwalker for Sega Genesis.
Man.
I missed that because that's worth so much money now. Like, you can never get it again. But I sold it for, I think, like $50 was pretty good at the time. But like, I wanted to keep that. Now it's like,
did you ever use the kid touching code?
Oh god, why?
Yeah, for me it was my PS1 RPGs. Like, I had all the Suikoden games, including Suikoden 2, which is one of the priciest PS1 titles you ever see. I at least one I won big on was Final Fantasy VII. It was before it hit all the the digital shops. I sold my copy for like $70, so at least I won there. But the Suikoden games, I won all those back, but those are easier said than done at this point. But anyway, I do set limits for myself. I've especially since Kenny's posted his video this week, Comic Head 84, which you guys in the chat haven't checked it out. Absolutely check it out. He makes some good points. And really, I mean, I'm just kind of at that same crossroads as he is, where I just I've had vacation the last 7 days, so it's rained every day, so I took that opportunity to really sort out things in this room here. And right now, my staging area is like 97% clear. The only thing that's up there is a Silver Surfer run I just bought last week, and then my today's pulls. So that's the first time that's been clear for almost 9 months, I think. With that being said, I know I'm on my 45th short box, which I kind of don't like because that's capacity. I have 3 shelves in that closet that look like these, and it's filled to the storage shelf now. So I can't have. I don't have room for 46. So 45 is it. So now anything I get, I kind of got to sell something behind it, basically. There's no room in these boxes. So just to say I'm kind of at that same crossroads. Yeah. So basically what I've been doing, I mean, as you can see, like this was this week's like new titles. I mean, I got 5 books. That's all I'm getting this week. And most of them were just because I knew I was going to be on 2 shows and I wanted to try out some number ones to talk about tonight, which I'm glad I did. I read some fun comics, but really the only one I had set aside for me was Farmhand. So I've been trying to reduce my pulls. I've been going, back on some of the stuff I haven't enjoyed and just going after the basics I just really liked, even if it's something I liked as a kid. Like I'll spend $4 all day on Buffy the Vampire Slayer, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Kevin Eastman stuff like this. And then just my independent guys like Rob Guillory. I'll just find that artist or writer I really like and follow them until they kind of write a book I don't like. For instance, Brian K. Vaughan, love him, so I'm going to get his hardcovers. So it's just, how's the old saying go? Like, collect what you like or something like that.
Yeah, collect what you like, love what you collect.
There you go. And then I'm just, not to go too crazy spending on individual titles. Most everything in these boxes behind me, I probably got for $1 or less. So I try not to spend more than usually 40 is my limit. I think JD mentioned that same number before we started tonight. Obviously, there's a couple exceptions. Like if you see a Hulk 181, hanging it just a dumb steal of a deal where it's better than having that money in your bank account. It's probably all right to go ahead and get that like I did. So yeah, but for the most part, I set limits. If I'm not reading the title, like Drew said, it gets dropped. Like I got like 3 or 4 I'm going to drop now. I'm behind on, and I've just accepted the fact that I may as well just wait till they go digital at this point on the streaming apps. So it's just setting those limits and trying to figure out what you can manage. And if you're buying more than you're reading, like I am, you probably need to kind of look yourself in the mirror or whatever and be like, I just need to read this stuff instead of buy more. So that's what I think I'm going to try to do as well.
Carson, you have the problem I have where I go to the shop to drop an issue. I'm like, I've been reading this. I'm done with it. Take it off my pull list. And then the LCS will look at me and be like, there's 3 more issues. And I'll be like, shit, I might as well, might as well get 3 more. I mean, I've gone 18 issues. I might as well collect all 21. If it's going to end at 21 issues, I might as well have them. So a lot of times I get sick of something and they're like, yeah, well, everybody else is sick of it too. It ends in 2 issues. I'm like, fine, give them to me.
Yeah.
A lot of times with like a lot of times like with like the hot covers or popular covers, like or art you like a lot in general. I just been saving the JPEG files, and looking them out on my phone on your camera roll, because you're going to look at them a lot more on your phone than in a box and pulling them out. Once you have them, they're out for a week or whatever. You can pull them out every now and then, but it's like, I just been saving money that way. But it's like keeping the cool covers on my phone. I'm like, yeah, that's a pretty sick cover. That's some nice art.
And Knights of the Old did put some good advice in the chase. Says, don't panic and sell your Grail Saul a small little crap first. That's pretty much what I do. If I don't have room for it, my parents have an antique shop. They have a little space for me, and anything I don't need at all, I just mark $1 and take down there and then keep the grails and the key issues basically from the runs I have.
Yeah, I think one of those dollar auctions is going to be coming for me very soon. I think I'm just going to go through my collection, and anything I haven't bothered to put in Mylar at this point, I'm going to reassess and most likely just get rid of. So I think that'll be a good judge for me. All my new stuff goes in Mylar automatically, but anything that I've had for a couple of years and haven't had the need to pull out and rebag, I think it's just going to go by the wayside.
Well, you know what I think? A really great series, and by the way, we hope JD comes back soon, because if he don't log back in,
we're live forever.
This is there he is.
Sorry, I was having a slight internet issue. We do have storms in the area, College World Series too, so it's a little bit crazy right now. And
JD, I was going to tell him, one thing that I got in, a great story that I got in on a little late was Chew. But I was able to get issue 1, 9.8. So I got the 9.8 slab at Chew, but I've got those hardcover omnivore editions, so I've got each one of those have the 10 issues in there. So I got 6 of those. So I got the whole Chew freaking saga. And man, I've only read like the first 10, but that's something I've got in the background to read when I'm ready to, so buying them. And JD, you were going to talk about trades, but I love buying hardcovers and trades. How about you, man?
Same. Yeah.
Actually, we were talking about the LCS with everybody there, and I told them I'm at this point where I was buying Immortal Hulk on like whatever, and I stopped. I didn't read them. Not that I stopped. I chose to stop reading. It's just that I only have time for about 5 books a week, and War of the Realms was coming out, and I was focused on War of the Realms. It's my favorite writer and everything else. Nothing against Al Ewing. I do know Immortal Hulk is great, but I sat back and I said, you know what? I'm going to wait for the trade, because I think some books, like the Daredevil run, I am so excited for that big time trade for Daredevil run, for the Chip Zdarsky Daredevil run that's currently running. And there's omnibuses that are coming out. I mean, you get trades usually run 5 to 6 issues. You get your omnibuses. I mean, I have Avengers. I own Avengers 1 through whatever, but I also have an omnibus of Avengers, because I don't like touching some of those books with some of my great buffalo wings eating hands sometimes. But Carson brought up, if I see a writer I like, and that's where I kind of restricted, and I made a mistake. Here's $5 I won't get back. This is the second printing of a book I already owned that I did not even look at the word second printing down here. This was criminal. Great issue, great book, my favorite book of the run, so I'm glad I have 2. one will be given away. And that's one of the biggest things I wanted to stress about this is when you're collecting the modern books and trying to keep up with the Joneses and getting all the modern books, everything. What killed me first was variants, and then I swore no more variants. And then they put out Silver Surfer.
Woo.
And I have every Silver Surfer that's been produced. So I'm sitting there saying now I got this new Silver Surfer Black going on, and I've seen so many cool covers, including an homage to Silver Surfer 4 out there on an Elite 500 issue minimum set. And I'm sitting there, I'm like, I'm not buying it. And I lasted about 3 seconds on that before I called the place and I said, hey, put one
You're stuck on me
for me and just save for me my favorite we're stuck.
The camera's
Oh, yeah.
stuck.
I didn't even notice that.
Oh,
I'm gonna dance.
that's all right. You're not that bad looking today.
Oh, I'm fucking gorgeous looking.
I didn't stick it on you. I'll put it on me right now. See if that works. Well, anyway, one of the things it's still on Drew.
Yeah, I don't think anyone's logged into the Comic Core account right now.
Lucky you,
Oh.
Comic Core.
Oh.
Stare at my ugly mug.
New Drew Manchu channel. Drew Manchu, baby.
Everybody
Man,
wants to do His name is Drew Man here.
Price
He's
is
here
still
to-
broadcasting.
Oh, that's right. I'm not on the Comic Core channel. I'm on my own. So,
Well, it
Great
is 11:07.
job.
Do you think we should be wrapping it up anyways?
yeah, we'll wrap up with Drew dancing a little bit and just tell everybody thank you very much for joining us here. Thank you for being a friend. Or anybody want to shout out? Oh, one more thing, the contest again. If anybody want to shout out the contest real quick and the t-shirts.
Yeah, and all the shirts, the funds go into the Comic Core to bring you to Baltimore. So we want you there with us. It's gonna be awesome. It'll be a good time.
Also, a grand prize. We have this one right here. I know a lot of you
Ooh.
really love the Silver Surfer, and this is one of those grand prizes that I ain't giving it away. People, come on now, 9.4. You can't go wrong with no 9.4. Bought many years ago. Thank God.
Very cool. Well, I will try to quickly get that Hangouts on air. Let me see if I can fix that.
Is it still me just dancing?
Yeah,
Yeah,
they
oh,
did.
yeah.
But you know what? We're getting more